Mountaineer Paul here for Big 12 and West Virginia crossover with the Locked On Podcast Network. Paul, who are the contenders? Who are the teams you actually think? You told me earlier Utah might just be fool's gold. Who are the teams that actually have a shot to win this league?
Well, in segment 2, I usually crack a do. And unfortunately for Utah, I do have a red code do. Fool's gold for Utah. But if I'm looking around the conference, man, I like K-State. I think Avery Johnson has a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in all college football. I think they got one of the best running backs in all college football. He's got the best wide receiver room he's ever had since he's been at K-State. That's saying a lot. Rocco Becht, unfortunately, loses 2 guys to the NFL, so I think that's going to be an issue. Obviously, Baylor, I think, is a very, very trendy pick to win the league. Wow. I lost a lot of trust with Dave Aranda, unfortunately, after those couple years where they were just down in the valley. Where did they go? And then all of a sudden they popped back out last year after a really slow start. Basically, they were the antithesis of Pitt, right? Pitt started out 7-0 and then lost 6 straight. Baylor was a similar thing, but the opposite. So, they're a very trendy pick, and if they can keep that momentum, absolutely one of the teams. But if you're going to hold my feet to the fire, I think it's probably K-State for me. But, something in me always says, how many back-to-back years have you seen Mike Gundy be bad? I know it's not a trendy pick, but I look at Oklahoma State as a team I think can at least turn it around this year. I don't know if they'll get back into the title picture, but I think a lot of people, for whatever reason, I think they think Gundy can't get with the times. I think he's gotten with the times. So Oklahoma State's a sneaky team as well. They brought in as many transfers as we did, but I think they've got a shot. But, yeah, probably Kansas State.
What do you think about Texas Tech? The number 1 transfer portal class in the country. You think that translates?
I don't know, man. It's tough because we usually it's a marriage of returning talent and incoming talent, similar to what Ohio State had last year, right? Where they had a bunch of talent on the team. They brought in 15 guys they really needed, and they win it all. You don't typically see a team like Texas Tech that loads up on a bunch of buys. You see teams get to the playoff that way. Like I think Tennessee's done that. Other teams have done that where they've just bought their way through. I think I just haven't seen Joey McGuire do it yet. That's the thing with them, right? I don't know if I trust Joey McGuire to do it yet. I do think they have the talent. There's no doubt they have the talent. But I just need to see Texas Tech perform at that level as a program. Rim Baker likes to say something, and then I think it's an excellent saying. Administrations win championships, right? Coaches win games. Administrations win championships. I don't know about the Texas Tech administration. I know Cody Campbell's a great booster, but what's their administration like? What's the day-to-day like there? Can you build a culture where you can win it all? Talent matters, but only to a point. You have to be able to push yourself over the edge, and I don't know if that administration with that coach that was coming out of high school so hot, such a great name, not really sure. So if it's not this year, it probably needs to be somebody else.
I do agree with the point that if it's not this year, there will likely be a change or the hot seat gets exponentially hot because they've invested so much money. The McGuire has to win. He has to be the guy that can win with the money that's been invested. If you prove
Monarch money.
Yeah, monarchmoney.com, where you can find the $55 million that Texas Tech has put into NIL on their football players who can now manage their money through Monarch.
$60 million is nuts.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And another school that's gone in on NIL is BYU. You spent a few days out in Provo a couple weeks ago. It's a special place, man. And I think they could still, even without Retzlaff, be in the conversation.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt, man, that they can be in the conversation. They've got a ton of talent returning. I love the Satakis, man. I really enjoyed my time around them. I got to meet Tom Sataki. I don't know if you got to meet him or not. The dad of Kalani Sataki. But, man, what an awesome conversation I had with him and their story about how they came over. From Tongan heritage and from Hawaii, and just having to sit outside the stadium, listening to games, wishing they could be inside the stadium, all the way to basically ruling within the stadium is just such a cool story. So if there's anybody that I'm rooting for now, that having spent some time down there in Provo with literally, and I don't say this like there's nothing to this statement at all outside the truth, the nicest people I've ever met. I don't know if it was put on or not because we were there, Drake, but I mean, if that's how they are day to day, those people deserve it. Like, they're really good people. They treated us well. And I got to be honest, man, they convinced me, like, while I was down there, going over their roster and looking at it a little bit deeper. They're deep. That defense is still there. They've still got a lot of pieces. One of the best defenses in school history last year. I do think that in the freshman class that they've got coming in, obviously it's not going to matter this year, but I do. And also their money they've spent. It's not Texas Tech, but it's in the ballpark, right? It's number 2 in the Big 12. So certainly, and I trust Sataki a lot more than I do McGuire.
Do you think a team that we haven't mentioned, Cincinnati, makes a coaching change after this season? There's no way they contend, right? Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm friendly with the guys over at Chatterbox Sports, and they definitely want to see him go. I think what was done there in the last regime is something that you look at, and I think can probably be replicated in the Big 12. But you got to have the right guy. I don't think the guy they have now can do it. I just don't. I've never been a big fan of his when he was at Louisville either. It's funny how Louisville won after he left. A lot of people say that they won with his guys, but it's like, I think it was an indictment in my opinion, because you left and then Louisville gets good with your guys. Similarly, I think somebody else could have probably won with Neil's guys at West Virginia had it just been a different guy at a different time. Can you imagine last year, not to pivot too much, but if Garrett Green's at wide receiver, who's absolutely tearing it up in the NFL right now as a slot receiver with Nico Marchiol at quarterback, don't you think somebody with a little bit of foresight, like Rich Rodriguez, who's done this several times, he's got a quarterback playing wide receiver right now that had 1,000 yards for Jack State last year, as that was a quarterback in high school. So, Pat White was a safety in high school. Rich Rod knows how to move pieces around. Unfortunately, I don't think the guy at Louisville was able to do that. And you saw they moved some guys around. Louisville was successful. I don't think this is the guy for them at Cincinnati. He's what I consider a 500 guy, 6-6 guy, right? He's one of those guys that you're consistently going to be bowl eligible, and that's it. You might as well just get used to that bowl eligibility.
Yeah, I do not have a lot of faith in Scott Satterfield. I do believe that very soon Cincinnati will have to make a move, and Luke Fickell might get fired from Wisconsin. We will have Rich Rodriguez, Scott Frost, and Luke Fickell all in the Big 12, right back at the schools where they made their name and made themselves well-known to the college football world, which I wouldn't complain about because Fickell went to the playoff there. It's not a terrible fit.
Do you think you can judge retreads the same as you used to be able to because of the era we're in?
It's too different, yeah.
It's too different, exactly.
Yeah. And I think we're hearing a lot of positivity out of Rich Rod's camp and West Virginia that he's developed for times. Not a lot out of UCF. We have not heard much all offseason out of Scott Frost and UCF. So we'll see. They could be two very different retreads. I'm hoping that West Virginia is not a retread as far as Big 12 membership goes. We don't have to ever get to that point in our history. But would the Mountaineers leave? There was a lot of smoke around that a couple weeks ago. This is a Locked On Big 12, Locked On West Virginia crossover.